Our guest today is Elijah Cooper, and Elijah is one of my students. I've known Elijah for, I think we established about half his life. He started out as one of my students around 11 or 12 years old. He is an amazing actor. I have the privilege to work with Elijah in the acting room. Elijah has worked on numerous projects, including Goosebumps, The Vanishing, All American Season 7, 911 as Angela Bassett's son. He's booked a variety of projects. Elijah is also a writer. He is an entrepreneur. He is an all-around amazing human being, and we've got a great conversation for you today, so I hope you enjoy it.
What's going on, brother?
We're here.
We are.
Dude, we've been trying to do this for a long time.
A long time, man.
We were talking about doing the podcast together 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Right?
Just about.
But you're a busy man.
I try to be.
You
I
are.
try to be.
I think when we were first talking about doing the podcast, you were shooting.
I think it was Goosebumps at the time.
I think it was Goosebumps.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you were shooting that where?
In New York.
In New York.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought it was LA. Did they shoot that here at all?
No, not at all. We were in Brooklyn. All around Brooklyn and Queens and into the city.
Okay.
Yeah. It was
Cool.
nice.
After that,
Mm-hmm.
we were going to try something else, but then what'd you do? Then was it All American?
All American, yeah. All American and 911 at the same time.
At the same time.
Yeah. And it was Goosebumps and 911 at the same time as well.
And where were those shooting?
Oh my goodness, those are in LA. So while I was filming Goosebumps, I would fly on like Saturday mornings off to LA from New York, film on Saturday, and then fly back Sunday so that I could film the other show.
Let's talk about that. So you have 911, All American, and Goosebumps.
Mm-hmm.
All of those happen over the course of 2 years?
Yeah, about a year and a half, 2 years, yeah.
Okay. And so you're filming in New York?
Filming in New York and LA.
Okay. So
Both 911 and All American are in LA.
Okay. Why aren't you filming anything in Atlanta?
That's my question. That is my question as well. I mean, I keep saying it. I'm like, I want to go home. I want to film at home and just nothing ever film. Everything will film in Australia and Vancouver and like whatever place, not Atlanta. I don't get it.
I know. And there's so many things that are filming here.
Exactly. There are so many things and I just can't seem to get my hands on them.
You really need to be better.
Yeah, exactly. It's all my fault. I messed everything up.
Yeah. You're booking all the wrong jobs.
Exactly.
You need to start booking the right jobs.
Right.
And you need to be more strategic with that.
Right.
Start booking Atlanta jobs.
That's my fault. I'm sorry.
So, okay, but we finally made it happen. I love that you're here. Mm-hmm. Elijah Cooper.
Yes, sir.
Hello.
Hello.
So I want to talk a little bit. How long have we known each other? Do you remember how young you were when you started?
Yeah, I was no more than 12 years old. I'm 19 now, so let's say 7, 8 years. Like,
yeah,
it's been a while.
7 or 8 years. That's almost half your life.
Yeah. Wow. When we put it that way, Jesus Christ. Yeah, that definitely is the case.
Yeah, and that's so cool, man.
Yeah.
It's so cool. It's so cool for me to get to watch these kids, i.e. someone like you, where, you've always had something where you had a confidence or an essence in front of the camera. Now, I'm sure if you were going to watch audition tapes of your
Oh my goodness.
of your 12-year-old self, it probably would be a little different than now. But let's go back to then. Let's go back to when you first started getting into this, right? So we meet, you're around 11 years old-ish, 11 or 12. What's happening with Elijah Cooper at 11 or 12 years old in terms of auditioning and acting?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was sort of a situation that I stumbled into. Of course, my sister Kaylee She was kind of the person that got me into all of this.
Right.
It was baseball was the idea for me. I wanted to be in the MLB. And I got injured mid-season, and that led to me doing an acting class with her, and I got here. And I guess I caught the bug really quickly, and I had, great teachers at Catapult that really did, help me hone in the craft, and things kind of just took off.
So that's funny. I feel like that happens a lot for boys in particular, right? They're getting into sports, and for whatever reason, right? Whether it's an injury or maybe they're just really bad at sports or whatever. But there's definitely, we were even talking about this earlier. And actually, I think this is kind of cool. We should mention this. Right before this podcast, the reason that we connected on this specific day is because you had an audition to tape. Right. And then, and that's how we've stayed connected,
right,
is through these auditions.
Exactly.
Which I think is good for people to know too. I mean, you just mentioned, Goosebumps, 911, right? All American. You mentioned all these shows, but you still have to audition.
I still have to do that.
Right?
I'm still on the
People
grind.
aren't just slinging out roles to you.
Yeah.
Has that ever happened? Have you ever had a role where it's just been offered to you?
I have. And honestly, I think what's interesting about it is my career, it's becoming a real like picking and choosing thing, right? I think, yes, I do still have to audition. I do still have to get out there and show my face. But with the projects that I have to back me up right now, people know like, okay, this guy's legit. He can handle a job. He can handle being, one of the leads in a show. Like, that's all good. I think there are some projects though at this point where I don't want to give names, but like some of them they're not necessarily the path that I see myself going down.
Right.
And so at that point when they are offered, I kind of just have to be like, I'm sorry, but that's not really where I see myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you expand on that a little bit? Because I think, obviously some people could look at that and go, well, you should take whatever you can get but I personally think there is a lot of value, both from a business side, but also just from a mindset side in terms of you being more strategic, I guess, and actually saying, hey, I don't want to just be an actor.
Right.
I would like to sort of create the path I want to have in this industry.
Exactly.
And so in terms of that, like how has that kind of transpired with you having that mindset? And did you ever kind of feel like, is it going to be weird if I turn something down? Have you thought about that?
Yeah, 100%. I think especially because when we first start, it's just like get jobs, right? If you can get in front of somebody, if somebody offers you something, go in there and take it. This may be one of your only opportunities. Like that is the idea. That's kind of the thing that's put out there. And I understand that mentality, right? Get your reps in, get out there, show your face. But at the same time, as things do kind of continue to progress in your career, you do have to start weighing out like, what is it that you want to do? Especially with this idea of like typecasting, for an example, right? A lot of my friends, they were in that Disney Nickelodeon space, which I was too. I was on That Girl Lele for a little while. And, it's so funny. After That Girl Lele, that's when a lot of the same kind of roles started coming in because they were like, it's a flattering thing. They're saying you can play the role, and that's great. But at the same time, like, you do not want to be stuck in a box. Maybe some people do, but me, from a professional standpoint, I wanted to be able to, show that I was multifaceted. Drama is one of the places that I just love being in. Like that's where I started with you. We did our drama class, and like that was my first love. So comedy was sort of something that I got into when I moved to LA. But yeah, I think that for me, it's a function of I've always been a very entrepreneurial person. I've always been a very creative person. I've always been a person that has a very specific creative eye. And so for me at this point, I really have to think like, do I want to be doing Nickelodeon my entire career? Do I want to be on a sitcom my entire career? Do I want to be, doing movies and nothing else? Or do I want to be creating things? Because I'm a big writer and I want to become a producer. I want to be multifaceted in the industry. And so with that, turning down certain projects, also taking time out to be like, I'm in college right now too, right? So with my academics, what's going to help me with my academic schedule and get my degree? Because I want to have that credential behind me that says like, hey, I'm a business major. I understand this business side of the industry. Now let me get in these doors where I can produce this project that I've been really passionate about. So there are a lot of different kind of ways that you can snake your way around. I've just found for myself that I want to become more of a multi-hyphenate rather than just a one kind of faced actor.
I love everything you just said. I think that's so great. You touched on a lot.
Yeah, I know it was a bit long-winded. I'm sorry. I kind of went everywhere.
No, that's what's great. That's the whole point of this. That's why this is one of the reasons why I love to do these podcasts, in particular with students of mine who I hope that I've played some part in terms of the growth you've had from being a kid to a young adult,
right?
And but I love that you brought up all those aspects. I love the fact that you said that you brought up the entrepreneurial side, because as an actor, I mean, you are your own business,
right?
You are the entrepreneur, and of course, when you're a kid, you have your parents, you have your team, you have your agent, your manager, but you're the CEO,
exactly,
right?
Yeah.
And so I think when you can look at your artistry as not only the craft side, the artist side, but the business side, and being strategic like that, I think there's a lot of value there. And I don't necessarily think a lot of actors do that.
Right.
I think a lot of successful actors do that, but I don't think a lot of actors do that. And so I definitely want to talk a little more about the writing. I had no idea. I didn't know that. That's awesome. I want to talk about college too.
Yeah.
So where are you going to college?
I'm at Morehouse College right now.
Okay. Got it. Okay, cool. And where are you at with, what grade are you in?
Sophomore year.
Sophomore year. Okay, got it.
Sophomore year.
And how are you doing that with all this stuff you mentioned earlier?
I'm praying a lot. I'm praying a lot. Yeah, I mean, it's tough. The good thing is I have done online school for a long time. I understand what it means to, balance out my career with school.
Yeah.
And that means late nights. That means weekends necessarily aren't free. That means a lot of sacrifice in terms of, things like going to prom and all this different stuff, right? Like there are trade-offs that you're going to make. Now, I think for myself, the trade-offs has been okay with me. It's afforded myself a very great career. And I'm happy about that. But for some people, they're like, no, this is, I need to be in school in person. And that's why, like my sister, she figured out after doing these classes, she was like, I don't know if I can necessarily sacrifice that. And so she went on a different path, and she's doing documentary filmmaking at Spelman now too. So like,
cool.
She's still in the industry in some way. But I think for me, yeah, it was a thing that was okay with me. And I think still to this day, I understand that like, after I'm done working a 13-hour day, I got to go and write an essay. And I'll just be up into the morning, and it kind of is what it is.
Yeah.
I don't get any breaks. People know that I do this. My professors know that this is my career, and they're like, that's great. Happy for you, but you have assignments that you have to do. And I think that also kind of speaks to the whole, like, hey, you got to understand the responsibility of what it means to be an actor, especially if you're going to be young, still in school, going to college. Like, there are things that you're not going to like that you're going to have to do, and it just is what it is. But I think that starts to weed out the people that, really want to be here and really want to do this, rather than the people that are just like, oh, this seems fun, bright lights,
Yeah, absolutely. Oh man, there's so much. Every time you bring something up, I just keep thinking about other things I want to talk about with you, man.
Yeah.
But you really are, and we'll talk about the craft of acting and just like being in front of the camera and those elements as well. But outside of that, just all of these different things that you're doing. So let me go back then. We started to talk a little bit about when you were a kid, right? So you get into this. When do you start realizing, okay, this is more than me? Just like I have an agent, I'm going out on some auditions, and you're kind of like, oh, this is like I dig this. Like, do you remember back then, like when or how that kind of transpired for you? Was it something that kind of grew over time? Was it something where you were like, oh, I know I want to do this? You know, like I have some actors who are like 9.
Mm-hmm.
I got this one kid who I work with, just started working with her, and you can see she's just got this little
Yeah.
fire in her eye.
Right.
Her mom sends me an email and says, hey, I wanted to let you know that so and so, her daughter, she wants you to know that she's going to be your best student.
Wow. That's great, though. That's the mark of somebody that's going to do great things.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
And so I thought that, and so obviously, so some kids have that. Now, also, I think some kids, they really dig it, but they kind of fall more and more in love with it through time. So tell me a little bit about that, going from being a kid to now being an adult, going to, an amazing university, going to college, juggling all this stuff. So yeah, let's talk about that, the trajectory of that.
Yeah. I'll be so honest with you.
I appreciate that because I feel like at this point, if we're lying all the time to each other.
Yes. Like, come on now.
I always love that statement, though. Let me be honest with you.
Yeah.
You're like, okay, versus lying to me.
Right.
But it's good. We want to establish that.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Be honest with me.
I think for me, when I first started acting, it was a thing that I wasn't forced into, but my mom was like, okay, you're injured. Go do something. Like, you better figure out something with your time while you figure out a way to get back to the baseball field. And so I was like, whatever. Like, I'll join the class with my sister. It's all right. We're 17 months apart. It was a whole sibling rivalry thing. I was like, I might as well go in there and show her up a little bit. But I think, like, I really did. It was especially when I did my first on-camera acting class. That's when I was like, okay, this is something. Because before, I don't know, there's a stigma around, like, theater kids and whatever in school. I didn't want to be that. I didn't want to be seen as that. And honestly, it was kind of embarrassing for me. I didn't want to tell anybody I was going to acting classes. Like, then I would have been seen as that person. And I realized there's nothing wrong with these people. These are people that just love the arts. But, like, for me not being a part of it, I didn't know.
Yeah.
And so I think for me, it's very much so been a journey of, like, not only falling in love with it, but falling in love with myself too through it, and realizing that, like, yeah, I am this creative person that enjoys acting and going into this different world and creating different characters and whatever. And it's not weird. It's expression. It's art. It's what we all have inside of us. And so I think, through Catapult, through me taking the classes and really understanding, like, what am I doing here? Right? Like, legitimately, not just like, okay, I'm here, I'm reading some line, but, like, how do I break it down? How do I build characters? What are the techniques I need to use? Like, all of that, I got my real technical training. How do I go forth in being an actor? I got that from here. And so once I got that, that's when I booked this film called Line of Duty. And, that's what really, like, took off.
And how old were you then?
I was 13.
Okay.
I was 13. And I taped here. I kind of just was like, oh, I'll close my eyes and hopefully it works out. And it did. It did. And I think that's when I really got a good feel, because that was my first, like, legitimate, somewhat big set. I was acting opposite Aaron Eckhart.
Yeah.
And so I was like, wow, like, this is really it.
Yeah.
Like,
that's a lot of talent right across from you.
Yeah, seriously.
Wow.
Seriously. And it was this cool action movie, and I was doing all these crazy, fun little, I wasn't supposed to be doing them, but stunt things, and like, I was like, yeah, this could be my career. I could do this every day, because this is a get-to job, not a got-to job. That's a very, very, very important thing. Like, I got to go in there and have fun.
Right.
It wasn't a thing. I wasn't flipping burgers at McDonald's. Like, this was a dream of mine, and I was getting paid nicely to do it too at 13 years old. Like, this was awesome. That's when I was like, okay, let's do it. Let's get serious about it. Let's start taking more classes at Catapult. Let's get out there, find an agent. I was with the Bell Agency when I first started, and I told Miss Shannon, I was like, hey, like, this is go time.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
So 13. Okay. So then as you're progressing as an actor, so you booked that when you're 13. What's the next thing that comes along for you that you recall, or something that, in terms of like, not necessarily, you don't have to list out the jobs you did, but like if you remember what's sort of that next step. So you're 13 now, you book this thing, you're like, okay, I dig this.
Yeah.
Also, by the way, before I forget this, I love that you said, not only did I like, I think you said love this thing that you were doing, but also loving yourself.
Oh yeah.
And that's really cool, which of course then would require you to have an understanding of yourself,
Right.
and embrace who you are, and then to go to that place where loving who you are.
Right.
And it's so cool that this artistry sort of uncovered that for you, right?
Exactly.
So that's super cool. I just wanted to acknowledge that, and I love to hear that, because I think that's a testament also with how the acting room is so much more than just acting.
Exactly.
How you're really learning about who you are as a person.
You are.
And this is where I tell people all the time, I got 2 little girls now. One of them's going to be 8 next week, March 7th, Venice.
Okay.
And then our little crazy one, Violet, who's 5. But I tell people all the time, I don't care if they want to be actors or not. I want to get them into acting class so they can learn how to embrace and love who they are.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that's super cool. So what is that, if you can think back, is there like a next kind of milestone in your journey?
Yeah. I mean, I think even though it was a space of like, okay, I really want to do this, I think it would also be a very big jump at that point to be like, all right, let's drop everything and move to Los Angeles. That we weren't at that stage yet.
Yeah.
But what I will say is, there were little jobs here and there, but what really got me to that next level was this film called A Million Eyes. And A Million Eyes, I actually started. And so that was a big deal. I'm number 1 on this call sheet. Like, that's a little bit nerve-wracking, especially with, it wasn't a big blockbuster thing. It was a short. But it was one of those shorts.
Yeah, and I want to just so people understand what that means. When you're number 1 on the call sheet is what you'll get as an actor, and you see all the actor names on there, and yours is the very first one, and whoever that first one is, that's sort of the top dog actor on the project.
Yeah,
and that's a cool thing to. Did you keep that call sheet?
Oh, of course. Of course.
Just curious.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So, all right. So you have that opportunity to be the lead in this, and it was a short film?
Short film. And I was playing opposite 2 fantastic actors, Katie Lowes and Joe Morton.
Okay.
Who were both fantastic actors. They were in Scandal for a very long time together, stars of that show. So I'm like, okay, Elijah Cooper is number 1 on that sheet. Like, what in the world is going on? Because I don't have all that much experience at this point.
Right.
But I think that also, spoke to how the director believed in me, how the team was all like, okay, we're rallying around you. We see your talent. Even though you're a young guy, we know that you can do this.
So I want to talk to you a little bit about that in terms of being number 1 on the call sheet, and then maybe having some of these bigger actors who are below you on that.
Yeah.
And how old were you when you booked that?
13 years old.
So still 13.
Still 13.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Was there any sense of just feeling like, I hate this like imposter syndrome, because it seems it's like something that just gets thrown around a lot. But was there any sense where you felt like you weren't worthy of being there? Was there any doubt that crept in?
Absolutely, 100%. And I think that most of the time I was so focused on trying to hide that, but it all comes out eventually at some point. And I will never forget. There's this one really, really, really cool scene that we did where I'm walking up by the side of this guy's house, and they do this interesting like dolly shot where they're on the track straight for 1 second, and then they start looping around me. Right, and it's a whole like circular thing. Cool. And I have to time it out perfectly, and I'm looking through this camera lens though, so I can't really see the camera. And it was my first time doing something like that. So it probably took us a good 12-ish takes.
Because you couldn't.
I couldn't get the timing right. I couldn't do it. And after we got it done,
Well, yeah, but what's happening in your head during that?
I was just telling myself I was the worst actor in the world. I was like, you're bad at this. Like you're not on the level that the other people are on here. And you're making a fool of yourself and you're not doing good. That's just everything that kept echoing in my head over and over and over again. And I was like, I don't want to be doing this right now. Like, I just want to be done. This is so stupid. Like, that's what this is a 13-year-old brain, right? Like, that's a lot of weight for somebody that age to carry. And I didn't know how to deal with it. I, as I said, hadn't had much experience professionally. And so this was a first time thing. And after we shot that, I walked off the set. I don't even know where I walked, but it was somewhere just alone. And I started crying, and I was like, I can't do this anymore. Like, this is horrible. I suck at this. And the director, he came up to me and he was like, man, that was a beautiful shot. Like, you did such an amazing job. This is going to be like what we use in the trailer. And I was like, dude, like, are you for real right now? Like, did you just see what happened? He was like, that doesn't matter. Because guess what's going to hit the trailer? It's going to be that shot, and people are going to be excited, and they're going to love your performance. And, even after he did that, still, I'm like, oh, I'm so pissed off at myself, whatever. But yeah, I think that moments like that are very important in killing that imposter syndrome. Because I also saw Katie Lowe's and Joe Morton flub their lines. I saw them have to stop takes. And I was like, huh. So actors aren't perfect. There actually is a, director yells cut and we just go again. And that kind of opened my eyes into, what it means to be perfectly imperfect in this world. Give different takes, get out there, be risky. I think that was the thing too, is I was trying to give this like robotic performance. Like every single line, I was like, okay, this is how, it's going to be 5 seconds for this line. Then it's going to be blah, blah, blah for this line. Like I was trying to give these performances that were authentic, but they were so inauthentic. And
it was almost like you were trying to like orchestrate it too much, not just allow it to happen.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. And so, yeah, I mean, moments like that, they suck, but they build the person. They build character. They allow you to build characters.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's where a lot of the beauty is created. And so, going further into projects down the line now, like if I am frustrated, okay, let that fuel into the scene. Let that make me better. Build that into whatever a character is feeling. Like a good example in Goosebumps, my character CJ was supposed to be frustrated in this one scene, and I wasn't getting it right. And so I was like, great. Now this one's going to be the take right here because I'm already there. And so I gave them something and they were like, yeah, we like that. That was the right move. Awesome. Because I was feeling it right there in the moment too. Right. And so it's stuff like that. You got to allow yourself to be free. You got to allow yourself to feel. I think if you constantly are so worried about doing everything perfectly, and if you're constantly worrying about the weight of people that may be, bigger than you on sets. Like Angela Bassett plays my mother on 911. Oh my God. Right? I'm playing opposite of David Schwimmer in Goosebumps.
Right.
I got Aaron Eckhart here. I played opposite Jamie Foxx in this other, like, come on now. Like these are industry giants. And I don't know how in the world I keep sneaking myself into the room. I don't get it, but thank you. But yeah, like you gotta allow yourself to go in there and work. And Angela told me this one time, it was actually my first day on set. I was nervous. I was literally physically shaking. Like I have bad stage anxiety. Like I get really nervous still to this day. And I think that's the thing too. You're not just going to magically kick it. It's going to be there. It's about how you manage it. But yeah, I was talking to her in this one moment and she was like, listen, I saw your tape, right? I okayed you being my son on this show. You have what it takes. We're all doing the same thing. Just go in there and do it. And when she told me that, I mean, it was magic. Like we did our thing, and now, you know, you go on like TikTok or YouTube or Instagram or whatever, and like every week I have people sending me clips of like people taking short clips from the show, and they're like, "Oh man, like this was just so incredible," whatever. I'm like, you guys don't even know what was behind that. Like that was nerve-wracking. That was me, you know, staying up late into the morning trying to figure out how I'm going to deliver this line. That was me shaking in my trailer before I went, but we did something great.
As you were telling that story about Angela Bassett, that's, I mean, I could, it's like as you were talking, I was just picturing her just because I've seen her face so many times as so many different characters in film. And obviously in TV as well, and just imagining her looking at you and you looking at her. I know I picked the right industry because of how easily I get emotional.
Yeah, that does help.
Yeah,
it does help.
But as you were telling that story, like I could feel the emotion of that.
Yeah,
and it's such a cool thing.
Yeah,
what a cool thing as a young man too.
Right.
To have someone in a mentorship role like that, for her to say, "I saw your tape.
Yeah,
I'm the one. You know, I said I wanted you to be my son.
Yeah,
you know." And that is just such a cool thing. I do want to say, because you referenced earlier, you said, I don't know how I keep sneaking on to these sets.
Yeah.
Well, I do.
Okay.
And so I just want to say, you know, as someone who has worked with you, coached you, instructed you, you have an ability in the room that is rare. It is a very rare ability. Now, in terms of how you've gotten to where you are, I mean, you've talked a lot about that in, you know, just going through this process and working through some of that adversity, like you mentioned. But I can tell you, and we'll dive deeper into this in terms of maybe how you've gotten to that place. But one of the reasons I wanted to have you on this show is because what you do in the room is something special. Like it's something really special. And when I say in the room, I mean in this acting room, in this audition room, because you have this ability, and it's through a variety of characters, right? Like remember the one we were working on with the, that was sort of the Star Trek-esque,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Where it was like this almost robotic-ish character, but still had to feel honest and authentic, right?
Yeah.
Whether it's that or just some, you know, kind of, or like the one we just worked on, you know, in terms of this kid who lives on an island, and you know, or it's, you know, the one where we were at a party and you're talking about these girls and like, you know, regardless of what it is, there is something in your brain, in your body, that when you get in front of that camera and we start recording, you just have this confidence. And I don't even know if we don't have to call it confidence, because it's the result of what I get to see and help facilitate in some small capacity is an individual who just looks like they are exactly where they should be. And so you haven't snuck on to anything. I'm telling you, I mean, I get it in terms of star power and all these things. But as an actor, dude, like when we work in the room and I'm watching those tapes and I'm watching the nuances of what you do in that room, it is something special, man. There's and I mean that with my whole heart. And listen, I have the opportunity to work with some really good actors, right? We were just talking about Brandon Spank, which is so funny.
That's my boy.
The connection then with All American and my client earlier, who was referred by Brandon Spank's mom, you know, and Brandon and I we had worked together when he was young, and you know, I have the opportunity to work with some really good actors. But dude, you just have something there where it's just as though, you know, and maybe it comes back to what you were saying in terms of loving who you are. Because I really do believe there is something to, if you really embrace who you are and love who you are, and then are able to love this artistry as well, which I think the two go hand in hand, in that if you can't embrace who you are, it's going to be really hard to embrace this artistry.
Exactly.
But because you're able to do that, I think we can look at it in this sort of reflective perspective, in that your love, your passion, your embracing of who you are simply is reflected, and the camera gobbles it up.
Wow.
And it appreciates your love of who you are and embracing who you are. Yeah. And so, yeah, I just wanted to comment on that.
You.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And I get it. And you're, and this is another thing. You're humble, but you find a way to also embrace who you are, because that's an interesting thing to juggle too, right? Mm-hmm. Being humble, yet when you're in front of the camera, like they don't want, no, yeah. they don't want you to be humble. That's per se, true. Right? Yeah. They want you to believe that you are the one, yeah, and that all the other actors who are auditioning can go home because they have found the one and you're the one. Yeah. Yet you still are able to be humble. Like, yeah. How does that happen? How do you vacillate between humble but yet abundantly confident?
Yeah, that's actually a fantastic question. And I think it comes down to the idea of the fact that you have to have that mentality of like, I am the one for this project. This is me. I think that allows me to be humble. And I think that's because growing up here in Georgia, right? The whole like Southern hospitality, this is who you are. Like you don't need to see yourself as a big shot or whatever. Like you're just one of the people. That is what I grew up in, and that is very important because that's built the base of who I am. And I think a lot of people, unfortunately, in the industry that I've encountered, they don't necessarily have that, right? And so this idea of like, I'm the one, I'm the star, or whatever, that translates into their entire personality. That is who they are. That is what they think they are. And honestly, a lot of those people are not. And it comes back to bite them in the butt eventually. But I think the foundation that I have as a person, who I was taught to be respectful, a thing like saying yes, ma'am, and no, ma'am, and yes, sir, no, sir. In LA, people are like, that makes me feel old. Don't do that, right? But I'm like, I'm going to call you Mr. Whatever. I'm going to say yes, sir. Like, that's just what that is, right? I think that because I was allowed, or because I was given the opportunity to build myself, build my character in that space, it allowed me to balance out this idea of like, yeah, I do have this natural God-given talent, and I'm a believer. I'm grateful to God for that. And I realized that like me making my way into this industry, me stumbling in, me being good at this is not like just work of my own. Whether you believe in God or the universe or whatever it is, like this is something that was given to me, and I have to work on honing this craft. I have to treat it with care. I have to, go on whatever journey I'm on right now, and that's it. My mom and my dad, like, they would always tell me, like, you have this gift. And I've been in a lot of situations in my life where, like, I was supposed to, like, literally die, A great example is, like, even me being in LA, we had a house fire. It was 3 a.m, no smoke alarms, no nothing. I just woke up and I got my sister out too. And right after that happened, whole house burned down to the ground, right? I know that there is a reason that I'm here. And that allows me to be thankful. That allows me to be grateful for every single day that I'm living. And so these jobs, whatever I get, I'm just happy to be there. I'm happy that I can be doing it. I'm going to do it to the best of my ability. And then I'm going to go and live my simple, happy life, and I'm going to be who I am. Like, that's it.
What I love is that I love that we keep talking about character and character.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Because you're talking about building your character, and it's built your character, and then obviously we also are building characters for the TV film roles. I want to talk a little bit about that in terms of your process specifically, right? So this is the Unscene Work, and a key component of that is the process that these different artists have, whether it be as an actor, a director, casting director, producer. So can you take me into that a little bit when you get an audition, right? Okay, audition comes in. What do you have a specific process? Does it vary? How has that varied maybe over the years? If you can get into the details of that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it is, as I said from the beginning, like when I had first started, it was, how do I robotically build this? Now it is, how do I creatively build this? I think as an actor, you have to be a person that takes in the world, right? I build a lot of my characters based off of what do I see around me? These are people that I have closely in my life. These are people that I may have encountered one or two times or just seen across the street, whatever it is. Like you referenced that Star Trek kind of robotic-ish character. Like that was built off of somebody that I've met before. Mm-hmm. And even if it's just like I've seen a video of a drill instructor or whatever it is, like there is an idea in my head of, okay, you give me this character description. Now, how do I see that reflected in the world? And I think that's what people want to see too, right? People don't want these like random, like weirdly crafted together characters. Like they want to see a reflection of, oh, I've seen this guy before, or I connect with that because, somebody, my neighbor across the street is just like that. Like that is what pulls on people's emotions. And I think with me being able to connect the dots, and it's been a process over the years, but with me being able to find a way to translate, like, what do I see on the page into how do I create this real world character? Like that's a real thing because that character is living in their own real world. And so that is how I treat the process of like, I'm stepping into this world. I am not just like crafting a character, but I'm becoming this character. So how do I place an emphasis on fully bringing that to life like it would be life? So for me, I mean, some people are like, oh, I have to like sit and meditate and come into this. But I'm like, no, like just step outside. And if you're out there, if you people watch for 30 minutes, you'll find some inspiration. Like that is what it is for me. So I don't have an overly sophisticated process, but I always value this idea of connection. Connection is very, very, very important. And I think that's what has allowed me to get a lot of roles, which is like people just say like, I can see you in it because they had an idea when they were writing this character. There was somebody that inspired them. There was something that inspired them. And if I can pull on that, then, you kind of got the formula there.
I love that you said connection. I mean, connection, well, it's literally on the wall behind me.
Oh, yeah, see? There you go. Like,
yeah. I mean, connect, right? And I think when you talk about connection, though, connection, obviously, there's the person you're connecting with there, but there's the environment you have to be in.
Exactly.
Right? There is your feelings, connecting with your feelings through this character. There's connecting with the story. Yeah. There's connecting with all of these different elements, right? But yeah, I think that the fact that you are bringing this, what you were referring to as real life, right? These real life people, I think that probably has a lot to do with why you found success in this. Because I've had the privilege of working with such a variety of human beings in this industry. And I know for some, it's almost as though their work ethic in a weird way is what gets in the way of their creativity.
Exactly.
Because they're so focused on, I got to do this, I got to do this, I got to do that. And then in turn, what happens is that it almost just becomes too formulaic, and it literally kills the humanity of it.
Exactly.
And when it comes down to it, it's all about connection, right? And it's like your job as a storyteller to bring that connection so that we, the audience, can connect with you,
Mm-hmm.
and then I mean at a deeper level, connect with like why we exist
Exactly.
as people, right? And you as a storyteller, that's such an important part of it. So when you're give me specific, do you have specifically anything that you do, like when you get the audition, like do you go, okay, I'm going to do this, then this, then this? Does it vary? Are there, and obviously depending on how big the role is and how much dialogue there is, these are all going to come into play, but do you have anything specifically where you go, okay, I get my script, then I go this, and this?
Yeah, I think it varies greatly. I think right now we're in a time of a lot of remakes and adaptations. That's what we're doing a lot of, right? So if there's any way that I can go and do my research and figure out, okay, like if this character was a character in some book or some movie before, like who is this character? What are they doing? What are their motivations? What is all of this? Right? I'll go in and do my research. So that's the first thing. I think then after I do my research, after I've built this idea of like, okay, this is who this is who I can connect this to in a real world way or whatever, then I'll go to the script and say, all right, what form do they want me to put this in right now? And what is this idea in this scene? What is the motivation?
What do you mean form? What form they want to put this in?
I think it's like, I find it so interesting when I get auditions because they send these specific scenes for specific reasons.
That's great. Yes.
They do. They want to see what you're going to do, how you're going to play this character, how you're going to...
Hold on real quickly, though. Can you because I think that's really important what you just said, in particular for all the actors out there, but I think it's a fascinating thing. When you say they sent this scene for a specific reason, can you dive a little deeper on that concept?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a function of like in building this character, right? They want to see these characters in specific lights because maybe this is a place that the character is going in a series, right? Maybe there's a dynamic that they want to see kind of how you play with and create, because they have an idea in their mind of what they want. They know exactly what they want to get out of it, but I think a lot of people miss the mark because they're so concerned about doing a formulaic type of thing that they start to like forget that there is motivation behind the scene. There's reasoning behind the scene. What is the character trying to get at? What are you trying to do? What's the achievement in this scene? There's even if it's, someone walking down the street, they're walking to the coffee shop. They want coffee. So you got to have the mind of like, okay, there's something that I want to get to. There's something that I'm doing. There's something that I am working to achieve. So no matter how big or small, I think that it's always important to highlight this idea of like showing the casting director, I see what you wanted from me. I understand. Now I'm going to give it to you.
Yeah, I think it's great. Yeah, because when you get an audition, you get sides. For anybody who doesn't really know the process, you get sides, which, have you ever thought about why they call them sides?
I have no clue.
I've made my own. I've made a decision as to why they call them sides.
Okay. Okay. It's the executive decision. I want to hear it.
So if you think about it like this, they're called sides because they are giving you one side of the story.
Mm-hmm.
Do you like that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Are you going to adopt that?
Yeah.
Are you going to start to say that's why they do it, and then you're going to give me credit for that?
I will. I'll give you all the credit in the world.
Okay, cool.
I will.
So you get these sides, and I think it's really great for actors to think about, okay, why did they pick these 3 pages, right? Why did they pick these 3 pages and these 4 pages when they could have picked a multitude of different parts from the script?
Right.
But there's a purpose behind that, and I think it's really great for actors to look at that and go, okay, what happens in this? What do they want to see maybe from the character here? And they go, oh, here we get to see that this is this sort of, let's say, frustrated teenager, right? and we go, okay, so that's happening in here, and the reason they're frustrated is because X, Y, or Z with the mom, okay? And then we go to the next scene and we go, oh, in this scene though, it's really important to show the maybe humanity or the vulnerability of that character, the sweetness of that character.
Which is what we just saw in this previous audition that I just did.
100%. 100%, right?
You're right?
Those two scenes very much, encapsulated like, oh, this is that sort of vibe of the character. We get to see his upbringing. We get to see his nature. And then in that next one, we get to see, oh, but there's also this kindness to it. And I think that's so important. And yeah, but even when you talk about that, I think there's something about the humanity of it, right? Because if we're telling these stories, there is this human essence to it that's so important. But yeah, I mean, I getting to see you work on all these different auditions, getting to see you actually booking these jobs and being on these projects, obviously it's so exciting, and working as an actor. And as I said before, you didn't sneak onto any of these sets. You deserve to be on these sets because what you do in front of the camera is something that is worth watching.
Thank you.
Yeah. But you briefly mentioned that you also are interested in these other aspects. I would like to know a little bit more about some of the non-acting components of your life, whether they be creative elements or other elements, and at least one of which being writing.
Right.
So tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah. I mean, I think for me, the whole writing journey got started as a result of two things, I'll say. The first thing was that I was doing a lot of auditions and, telling a lot of stories, but they weren't necessarily the story that I wanted to see myself in. I have an idea of what kind of character I want to play, what kind of role I want to bring to life, what kind of story I want to tell. And I feel like that leads me into the second point, which is you have to be able to create your own yes. You have to be able to create your own world that you're envisioning. You can't just sit back and wait for everybody to say, okay, no, this 112 times, and then 113th, I guess, maybe we'll get you into the callback room. No, we don't really want you. And then on the 200th try, you're getting the job. But I think that is what discourages a lot of actors, because it's like, oh, well, then maybe I'm not built for this. Well, no, maybe your nose was just too big. Or like it's something like that, where they're like, we thought he was a fantastic actor, but like there was a small thing in terms of how we envision the character that he just is not, that's not it, right? And so with these like small, very minute details that can throw off the entire trajectory of your career, you have to have a tenacity. You have to be able to say, okay, cool, this is not working, but like, how do I create something for myself? If I want this so bad, then I'm going to build a space that allows me to do it. And you don't necessarily have to have a $50 million budget to go make some film that you want. Get your DSLR, get out there, find a few friends, and make something. And that's how a lot of greatness is created. And I think that not enough people will actually get out there and do it. People hear about it. This is not a new idea, but people, once again, it weeds out who really wants to be here and who's just hoping that they can, find their way through the industry. And so for me, writing has become an outlet of creative expression, but it's also become a way that I know that I'm going to, pave myself forward. So I'm working on a lot of different projects, a lot of different ideas, a lot of different spaces. And honestly, I've gained a lot of good traction and, going to hopefully to market like soon with some of these ideas. I've got, different big production companies excited about the ideas. And so that just shows you like, I'm 19 years old. I'm a random kid from Georgia, but I'm creative. I have ideas. And it took time to figure out, okay, how do I, correctly build a world? How do I, use proper writing techniques? How do I break stories? How do I do all that? But all of that legwork has provided me the space to say, like, okay, now I can go and show it to these people, and they're like, wow, these are actually legitimate, good ideas that we want to see on TV or that we want to see in the movie theater, like whatever it is. And I'm enjoying it. I really am. And I figured out further, like, that's where I want to be. I want to be able to create and tell these stories. That's what brings me joy. Yes, I want to act and I want to be in front of the screen, but I've also not ever really been a person that's big about fame. Like, that's not my thing, right? It's great, a lot of the perks, but like, it's just something that comes along with the job for me. But being behind the camera, like, that's where I'm comfortable. I can be in my hermit space and just write my little stories and then kind of call it a day. Like, it makes me happy.
That's so cool. I love to hear that. Yeah, I think, and this is a theme in this podcast. This is a huge theme in my teaching, as either one of my students who are here with us right now. A little shout out to our students, right?
Yep.
We got Eleanor and Jesse here. I am a huge proponent of not just waiting.
Yeah.
My friend Matt Draper, he would always say, stop waiting, start creating.
Seriously.
And I just feel like, and I mean, I try to hammer that into their heads, because I think if the only thing you're doing is relying on auditions to come your way or opportunities, man, that's a needle in the haystack.
Yeah, seriously.
And the percentages of that actually, and you look around too. I mean, you look at the artists who are doing this and how many of them create their own content,
Right. Yeah.
produce their own stuff, write their own stuff, direct their own stuff,
Yeah.
right? I mean, it opens the door so much, and well, that's exciting, man.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited to see how that all transpires.
Yeah.
Right. Can I request a seat at the premiere of your first?
I got you.
Okay,
I
yeah?
got you.
Yeah?
Don't you worry.
Okay, cool. All right, I'm going to hold you to that.
Oh, yeah.
And I want everyone to remember this. So if for some reason
It's there.
I'll come back on and say, I never got my seat. No, but that's really cool. Okay, so then, so outside of the writing, obviously, so you said you're a sophomore in college. What's lying ahead for you, whether in the TV film industry, life in general?
Yeah. So of course it's finishing college. That's a big thing. But also with that entrepreneurial mind, right? I want to be able to translate the business into the business, right? I want to be able to understand, okay, what is contract law, right? How do I properly, even in like business ethics class, how do I properly go into a meeting and formulate ideas and do whatever? Like, there are all these little elements that, you may not specifically understand in the moment while you're doing them, but they do work to build the bigger picture. So for me, it is, I want to be able to apply all that knowledge in the space of owning production companies, soundstage lots, like whatever it is. Like, I want to be able to own the entire process because I love this space, right? And that's the main thing for me. I've always had this mind for business, but it is like, where do I want to see myself in business? I don't want to be a toilet paper salesman. That's not what I want to do.
Okay.
Right? I want to make movies. But if I want to make movies, I don't want to just be an actor. I want to be the guy that creates this universe. And then further than that too, I co-own a clothing company called Tent Streetwear.
Okay.
And we've done really well. Got a lot of love from different people like Vince Staples, Billie Eilish, Offset. Like, all these different people have seen, this cool idea that we got going. So working on that is going to be a big thing too. Having the credential behind my name will most definitely help me, because once again, like my business partner, she's young too. And it's hard for us to walk into a room of people and be like, hey, take us seriously. And I think that spans into the world of television and film too. When you're creating, it's hard for people to be like, oh, we're going to just trust all the ideas that you got and we're going to put you on big stages. Like, you have to find a way to work to prove yourself. And so for me right now, college, getting my education, doing all that, this is the legwork. This is what I'm putting in so that I will be able to freely and fully just be able to create whatever world that I want. So yeah, I'm trying to be everywhere, man.
I love it. I love it, man. Well, I'm so proud of you, man. I'm really proud of you. Your mom and dad, I'm sure, are proud of you.
Yes, absolutely.
You are a testament to what's right about this industry. You know, I think at least one driving force behind doing this podcast was to show people like there's so many beautiful elements of this industry.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many things that you can learn. There's so many great human beings.
There are.
You know, outside of just seeing talented actors, talented creatives, and hearing about all these different ventures that you're in, it makes sense to me, even from just seeing what you do in the room, in terms of your willingness to put the time and energy necessary into the thing, not just to book a job, but to be in service to this living, breathing organism. And you do that in the room, and so it's no surprise to me that you're doing that in everything else.
Thank you.
And I love when you use the verbiage. You said, I don't want to just act in this or do this. Like, I want to create the universe.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that to me is super cool, man. And I will tell you, and I mean this with my whole heart, of any young actor who I've had the opportunity to work with, if anyone could create their own universe and that universe be one that we all want to be a part of, it's you, man.
Thank you.
So I am so stoked we finally got to make this happen.
Yeah, man, this is awesome.
All that was required was you having an audition you needed to
Exactly.
you needed me to work on with you, me having a free couple hours, you having a free couple hours, and you not be on a TV show or a movie
Right.
or in a different state or whatever else. And dude, come on, man, book a job in Atlanta.
I'm trying.
Dude, just book that job in Atlanta so you can be here.
I promise you.
Okay,
I promise you.
let's put that into the universe.
Yeah,
Let's
we
let
should.
that happen. And yeah, thank you so much, man, Elijah Cooper. Yeah, there we go.
Thank you.
Thank you, bro. All right, that's a wrap.